Hello and welcome to AC1110 Accounting Fundamentals. My name is Bob Steele. I'll be your instructor for this mod. I want to do the first thing first before we get started with anything else, and that is that we need to log into McGrawHill Connect, which is another software over here. McGrawHill, the publisher, Connect being the software. You need to click on this icon and watch this video down here. So click on this video down here, which will go through the registration process to get that up and running. Once it is up and running, then you'll see an icon that looks like this. So we are in Moodle Rooms. This is McGrawHill. If you go into McGrawHill, you will then see something like this. If you have any questions getting into this, let me know as soon as possible, and we want to troubleshoot that as soon as possible. Going to go back to the Moodle Rooms over here. The rest of the information, we have the contact information here. The email address is probably the best way to contact me. We also have the phone number. Welcome to use that. We've got office hours on Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. These are not required or mandatory, but it is some time that is carved out for question and answer format. It will be in a question and answer format, so if you go in there, it's not really a discussion or a lecture type format, so be ready to ask some questions and we can take a look at things together. It is a different line. Notice that we have a conference call-in line rather than this other line, and that's so multiple people can call in at the same time. If it's necessary, we can also use this software, which will show screen share software, so we can work through problems like in Excel or something like that at that time. So I highly recommend using software like this with instructors as well as with other students if you so choose. You can contact other students through the participants up here, and then you could use software if you're in different locations in order to set up meetings and share screens. Software such as JoinMeet or Join.com is one kind of software that you could try, as well as Skype. These are softwares that you could have a screen share so that you can work through problems and see the problems on the screen as you're working through them. Going to go back to Moodle Rooms over here. Also note that many of the problems that we will work will have an example problem, and there's also going to be some example videos on there. Those are going to be housed mainly on this website. So you could go to this website directly if you click on here, and it's under Charter College, and we are in Accounting Fundamentals. Most of the links will be going here, so if you wanted to try to go here directly, you could. You can also go, I'm going to go back to Moodle Rooms, to the YouTube channel. Now, the YouTube channel seems to work better on phones and tablets, so if any of the links in the entire class are not working as quickly as you hope, or you're trying to open them up in a different tab, I would try a different browser first, such as Firefox, Chrome, and then maybe try the YouTube channel where you could find the same video. So if any links aren't working or as quick as you hope, then try going to the YouTube channel here. Most of them should be here, and if you scroll down to the Charter College, we are in the AC1110, and if you click on here, you'll see the video links on the right hand side. Now again, you might have to search around a bit to find what you are looking for, but most of them should be in here. You have to go through here and search and find them in that way. I'm going to go back to Moodle Rooms over here. Next thing we have is the syllabi, so let's take a look at the syllabi real quick. So the syllabi looks like this. We got the same contact information, course descriptions. It's an introduction to accounting class. No prerequisites for this one. It's the first class. I'll let you go over the learning objectives. It's going to be an introduction to an accounting class. And the instructional materials. We have McGrawHill Connect and an ebook. So remember that we are going to be using McGrawHill's Connect. Make sure to get in there. That's the first thing to do. It will be an ebook within there. So once you get into McGrawHill, locate the ebook, make sure you can navigate around there. If you have any questions about that, let me know. No physical book is an ebook. We'll be using Connect. That is a McGrawHill product. Resources, you have the library that you could use for other resources. We have the instructional method. I'll let you take a look at that, as well as the topics, Introduction to Accounting. Do want to spend some time on the categories. Remember that down here, we have the categories and the percentages to come up with the grade. Discussion forums were 21%, quizzes were 33%, assignments 33%, and homework 13%. I recommend the strategy in this class and all classes basically would be to get 100% of the 21%, to try to get full credit. In other words, on the discussion forums, you have the most control over those. Then try to get as close to full credit as possible on the assignments and the homework. There will be a lot of them, and so you may not be able to get full credit, but try to get as much as you can on those because you have the most control over those. Then make sure to take the quizzes, be prepared for the quizzes, go into the quizzes as prepared as possible, and do as well as you can with the knowledge that you have going into it with a good point cushion if you get full credit on this and as much of these points as possible. So that's the strategy that I would recommend in approaching these classes. Going to go back to Moodle Room over here. Next, we have the homework grid and the welcome letter. I'll let you take a look at that. We've got the course announcements. So you may have received emails on these already. They send out emails automatically when I put these in there. So general strategy and tips, I'll let you take a look at those. Log into Connect and learn to use the resources. So if you go into here, these are some videos I highly recommend going over first thing. And these will show you how to use the ebook. What's the difference between the ebook and the Learn Smart? How to learn Connect. And these are things, if we haven't used the software, basically before we even get into the accounting, we really have to learn the software. And that's going to be a little bit hard on the first week. It gets easier week after week from that point. It's a lot easier if we actually go in and focus on how to use the materials first, rather than kind of try to figure it out as we go. So I highly recommend watching these things as soon as you can. Going to go back to the announcements up top. This is like the cookie trail. So instead of hitting the back arrow most of the time in Moodle Rooms, you want to use the cookie trail up here. And next thing we have login and connect. This will go over the videos. If you have any problems on the sound in that, check your work features in Connect. We'll talk about some of the features in Connect and other same kind of principles on how to use Connect. Connect answer key and check your work. Same idea. Study Buddy, if you want to work with somebody else, I do recommend doing that. Of course, you're on an online class. So in order to contact other people, you could go to the participants over here, and then that will send what I call a Moodle message, and you can send contact information in that way and set up meeting times if you wanted. Maybe using software like Join Me or Skype in order to do screen share type of meetings would be something that could be useful in online environment. Going back to the course announcements up top. We have the Microsoft. If you don't have Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, we do provide that for basically free when in Moodle Room. So that's going to be over here. It's in Office 360. If you click here, you should be able to download Office, I think 2013 on that. So we will be using some of Excel, and so I highly recommend updating that if you need to on that. Back to the announcements up top. So the next item we have is the Instructor Virtual Office. So if you have any questions, then you can post them to the Instructor Virtual Office. That's kind of like raising your hands. Those are questions that may be applicable to other people in the class, and I can answer them at one time at that time. If, on the other hand, you have questions that you don't want the whole class to see and you'd rather just ask me on that, the email's probably the best way to go. I try to get back to those pretty quick. I check those pretty regularly. And then we have the day one introduction. So you want to go in here as soon as possible and introduce yourself. Both introduce yourself and share what you hope to gain from the class, as it says here. Here's my introduction, so you can post on that sometime in the first week as soon as possible. And then we're going to go back up to the cookie trail up top. And we want to remind one more time that the first thing we need to do is to log into McGrawHill, which is the publisher of Connect, by logging into this icon. Then we use this instructional video to do that. Once we do that, we'll see this icon up here, and we will then have McGrawHill on this side. This is McGrawHill's Connect. This is Moodle Rooms. If you have any problems with that, let me know, and have a good class.